Do you want to know how to talk about the weather in American English?
That is what our podcast is about. Today you will learn in easy English how to talk about the weather.
Hello, my name is Mike.
And my name is Jessica. A warm welcome to our English learning podcast.
Many people may wonder, why is it so important to talk about the weather?
The answer is simple. Americans love to talk about the weather.
The weather is perfect for small talk in English.
People talk about it at work, with neighbors, or just in between.
I remember when I first came to the USA. People asked me, "How do you like the weather today?"
And you did not know what to say.
Right. I heard the question but did not really understand it.
I had moments like that too. At first I did not even know what weather means.
That is exactly why we make this podcast.
So you can feel safe in such moments.
And chat about the weather with ease.
Step by step and without stress.
We start with the most important weather words. Words like sun, rain, fog, and heat are very useful every day. Do you know how to use these words?
You probably already know many of these words, but learners often do not use them quite right.
That is why we also talk about the most common mistakes when learning English.
You will be surprised which small mistakes even native speakers still make.
After that, we will look at simple sentences that people use and hear every day. We will talk about speaking about the weather today, yesterday, and tomorrow.
And we will show you how to start a conversation with the weather.
At the end, there will be small examples and an exercise to join in. This way, you can use what you learn right away. So relax, listen, and join us.
Mike, how is the weather today in New York? I noticed it right away while walking to work this morning.
Today, the weather in New York is pretty nice. The sun is shining, and it is not too cold. On my way to work, it felt really pleasant.
Yes, I felt the same. It was bright and dry. I left the house without an umbrella. Yesterday was very different.
True, yesterday it was cloudy and it rained. When I walked to work, I got really wet.
Exactly. Rain means that water falls from the sky. Many people simply say, "It is raining."
Today it is not raining. Today it is dry. Dry means no rain.
Dry is a very important word each day. When it is dry, you can walk outside easily.
Or you can ride a bike. Today that works well.
Another useful word is sunny. Sunny means a lot of sun.
Today it is sunny in New York. That puts people in a good mood.
Yes, many people feel better when the sun shines.
Yesterday it was not sunny. The sky was gray yesterday.
We say gray when many clouds block the light.
Then the day often feels longer.
Today it is also a bit warmer than yesterday.
Warm is the opposite of cold. Yesterday it was pretty cold.
This morning it was pleasant, not too cold and not too warm.
Pleasant is a good word for weather.
With these words, you can already say a lot about the weather.
And this is exactly how many people talk about the weather each day. Now we have talked about the weather as it is, but people often say how they like the weather too.
Yes, you do not just tell how the weather is, You also share how you feel with it.
I, for example, really like sunny weather. When the sun shines, I feel happier at once.
I know that. Sun also makes me more motivated. Then I like to walk or meet friends.
When it rains, I sometimes feel tired.
I feel the same. Rain calms me, but it can also slow me down.
Tired means that you have little energy.
Exactly. Then I often say, the weather makes me tired.
I do not like heat very much.
Heat is when it is very warm, often in summer.
Yes. When it is too hot, I prefer to stay inside.
Me too. Then I often say, it is too hot for me.
But I like cool weather.
Cool means not warm, but also not cold.
Right. In cool weather, I can work well.
Now we will talk about the seasons. Many people like this topic.
Yes. There are 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. And everyone has their own likes.
My favorite season is clearly spring. After winter, everything feels lighter. It slowly gets warmer, the days grow brighter, and I have more energy again. In spring, I go out a lot. I walk, meet friends, and like to sit outside at a cafe. The weather puts me in a good mood.
I can understand that well. For me, fall is the best season. I like the fresh air and the calm mood. It is no longer hot, but also not really cold. In fall, I often take long walks, sometimes through parks or woods. The colors are lovely, and I can think well.
I also like summer, but only up to a point. When it is too hot, it gets tiring.
Yes, heat can make you tired. In summer, I try to do things early in the morning or in the evening. At noon, I often stay inside.
And then winter comes. To be honest, I do not like winter very much.
I feel the same. It is cold, the days are short, and it gets dark early.
Right. Dark means there is little light. That can hurt the mood.
That is why we often do something special in winter. We usually fly away on vacation.
To a warm place?
Yes, exactly. Sun, warmth, and light. That helps a lot against winter. When we talk about weather, we often think about the United States. But in other countries, the weather is much more extreme.
Yes, that is true. There are countries where it is almost always cold.
For example, in very northern countries. There it is extremely cold in winter, often with snow and ice.
Extremely cold means it is much colder than here. Sometimes minus 20 degrees or even colder.
Exactly. I was once in a country where it was dark almost the whole winter. The sun hardly came out.
That can be very tiring. Little light makes many people tired.
Yes, I noticed that. People stay inside a lot and go out less.
In other countries, it is the exact opposite. There it is extremely hot.
For example, in desert regions. There it can reach over 100 degrees in summer.
Extremely hot means you can hardly go outside. Many people then stay indoors during the day.
Right. People often live differently there. They go out early in the morning or in the evening.
I have friends in a very hot country. They often say, it is too hot for anything during the day.
That shows well how weather affects daily life.
Yes, weather decides how people live, work, and plan their time.
In very cold lands, warm clothing is important.
In very hot lands, you need shade and a lot of water.
You hear these words often when speaking about extreme weather.
And they help you understand other countries better.
Exactly. When you talk about weather, you also talk about culture.
And about people's daily life.
That makes conversations exciting.
And very instructive.
We have talked a lot about the weather. But in daily life, everything often starts with one simple question.
Exactly. You simply ask about the weather, and you are already talking.
That often happens outside, for example, in the park.
Yes, I have started many talks in the park.
Me too. I remember a walk in the afternoon. I sat on a bench and someone sat next to me.
And how did you start?
Very simple. I said, "Nice weather today, right?"
That is a perfect start.
The person smiled and said, "Yes, finally sunshine."
That is often how it goes. You agree or share your view.
After that, I said, "Yesterday it was much colder."
And then you compare.
Yes. The talk kept going on its own.
I do the same. I often say, today is really pleasant.
Pleasant is a word many people use.
Yes, because it is positive. Not too cold, not too hot.
You can also ask, "Do you come here often?"
Or you stay with the weather.
For example, "Hopefully the weather stays like this."
You hear such sentences very often.
And they feel natural. We have now talked about how to speak easily about the weather, about sun, rain, and lovely park days.
But sometimes the weather is not only small talk.
Exactly. Sometimes the weather becomes extreme.
Then you do not talk only about good or bad weather.
You talk about natural disasters.
Natural disasters are events when nature is very strong.
For example, heavy rain, great heat, or severe storms.
Or floods when a lot of water comes.
In such moments, daily life changes.
Streets are closed. People stay at home.
And suddenly everyone talks about the weather.
But in a very different way.
I remember a summer with extreme heat.
Yes, me too. It was very hot for days.
The heat was tiring. Many people were tired.
Some could hardly sleep at night.
Then you no longer speak lightly.
People say, for example, the weather is dangerous.
Or, this is not normal.
Heavy rain can also be dangerous.
Yes. When it rains too much, there are floods.
Flood means that water covers everything.
You hear such words often in the news.
And also in daily life.
People then say, "Did you see the flooding?"
Or, the storm was very strong here. Mike, earlier you said weather and nature can be extreme. Have you ever lived through that?
Yes, I have. I once lived through an earthquake and will never forget it. It was early morning. I was still in bed and about to get up. Suddenly I felt everything move. First very light, then stronger. The bed shook, the floor felt strange, and I heard noises in the apartment. In that moment I was very confused. I did not know at once what was happening. For a few seconds I just stood there and thought, "What is this?"
Did you notice right away that it was an earthquake?
No, only after a few seconds. Then I knew. This is no wind and no truck outside. The whole house is moving. I got up fast and went outside. Many people were already in the street. Everyone looked at each other. No one spoke much. You could see that all had felt the same. Some were afraid, others very calm. I was tense, but also very alert.
How long did it last?
Actually, only a short time. Maybe 10 seconds. But in that moment, it feels much longer. After that, it became completely quiet. No more shaking, no sounds. I breathed deeply and saw that nothing bad had happened.
How did you feel afterward?
Relieved. Also a bit thoughtful. In such moments, you notice how small you really are.
I can imagine that. Your story shows how strong nature can be. It reminds me of my own experience that I will never forget.
Really? Where was that?
I was once far in the north near the Arctic. There I felt extreme cold, much stronger than before. It was winter and the temperature was very low. After only a few minutes outside, my face and hands hurt. The air was so cold that each breath burned.
That sounds very intense.
Yes, it was. I wore several layers, but I was still always cold. Everything was silent, and the snow swallowed every sound. During that time, I also met Inuit, people who live there. For them, this weather was normal. They were calm and very relaxed.
How did they handle the cold?
Quite naturally. They knew exactly how to move, how to dress, and when to be outside. I saw how much experience they have with nature. We sat together and talked. They told me that cold is part of daily life there. For me, it was extreme. For them, it was normal.
That is a big difference.
Yes. This experience showed me how differently people feel weather, and how much it depends on place and life. When I now say it was very cold there, I feel much more behind those words.
You can tell.
Before we continue, we want to ask you something.
Please write in the comments where you come from.
And tell us what the weather is usually like there.
Is it often cold or mostly warm?
Does it rain a lot or is it sunny often?
You can write very simple sentences.
For example, I come from Mexico. It is often warm here.
Or, I come from Canada. In winter it is very cold.
1 or 2 sentences are enough.
We are really interested in the weather where you live.
And maybe you will find common points with others.
We look forward to your comments. When we talk about the weather, it is often about more than sun or rain.
True. It is also about how we feel.
Right. Weather shapes our mood more than we think.
You notice bad weather in daily life very quickly.
Yes. When it stays gray, rains, or the sun is weak, many people become quieter.
Or more tired.
Exactly. Many then say, I am not in a good mood today.
Not in a good mood means you feel grumpy.
You hear that especially often in winter.
Yes. There is even a word for it. Winter blues.
That means some people are sadder or have no drive in winter.
No drive means you have little energy.
Many do not even notice it clearly.
But you can see it in daily life.
For example, in conversations.
When the weather is bad, people talk about it more.
Right. Rain is then often the first topic.
People say, rain again.
Or, This weather wears me out. We just talked about how much the weather affects our mood.
And for that reason, it also affects our behavior.
Yes. In daily life, many people use the weather as a small excuse.
That sounds negative, but it is completely normal.
Very often you hear phrases like, "in this weather."
For example, in this weather, I prefer to stay home.
Or, "in this weather, I don't feel like going out."
You hear these sentences very often, especially when it is rainy or cold.
Another common phrase is, "because of the weather."
For example, because of the weather, I will arrive a bit later.
Or, "because of the weather, I moved the appointment."
Then the weather is the reason.
Right? And most people accept that.
Yes, no one is surprised about it.
In bad weather, many people are slower.
You walk slower.
You work slower.
And you plan less.
I notice that in myself.
Me too.
When it rains, I often tell myself, "today I will do everything a bit slower."
Or, today is a day for indoors.
Staying inside is very typical in bad weather.
You stay home, watch a movie, or read.
And when you cancel something, you often say, "better not today with this weather."
That sounds friendly and understandable.
Yes. The weather takes the pressure away.
You do not have to explain a lot.
Right. Everyone knows that feeling.
And in good weather, it is the other way around.
Then you hear sentences like, "in this weather you have to go out."
Or, because of the good weather, I'm going for a walk.
So the weather often sets the tone.
Set the tone means that something decides how the day goes.
And it happens all by itself. When the weather is very bad, you often hear certain phrases in the news. On the radio or on TV, these phrases repeat again and again.
Yes, these sentences are usually short and clear. That is why they are good for practice.
One typical sentence is, for example, "there was heavy rain." That means it rained a lot.
Or you hear, many roads are closed. Closed means you cannot drive or walk there.
During extreme weather, you also often hear, "the situation is difficult." That means the situation is a problem.
Such sentences may sound serious, but they are very useful. You hear them in daily life and in talks.
A good exercise is to listen to the weather forecast. There you hear many important words.
For example, rain, storm, or heat. Time words like today or tomorrow also come often.
You do not have to understand everything. It is enough to catch single words.
Right. You can remember one sentence and say it again later.
Or you write the sentence down quickly. That helps with learning.
This way you slowly get used to the language.
And you learn how to talk about the weather.
Back then, it was part of my routine to watch the news every day, mostly in the evening after work.
Really? Did you watch the whole news or only part of it?
Mostly just the most important stories. After that, I always watched the weather report.
That is interesting. Why the weather report?
The weather report was easier for me to understand. Many words repeated and I could follow the speaker well.
So your listening got better?
Yes, exactly. I heard similar sentences every day. For example, it will be sunny tomorrow, or there is rain in the north.
Did you listen actively or only passively?
Both. At first, I only listened. Later, I spoke some words along.
And did that help you in daily life?
Very much. I noticed that I understood talks about the weather better. Small talk was easier, too.
That sounds like a good learning routine.
Yes, it was no stress, it was simply part of my day.
And learning should be just like that.
Exactly. Regular but relaxed.
Another tip is to use the weather on purpose each day. Every morning, think quickly about today's weather. Then say one simple sentence to yourself.
I do that often, too. I say out loud, "Today it is cold and cloudy." Even when I am alone, it helps a lot.
Speaking out loud is important because you get used to the sentences. The head and the mouth work together. This way, English feels more natural.
Another good tip is to make small notes. One sentence is enough. Write it in your phone or on a slip of paper.
Right. I used to write simple weather sentences often. For example, "It will be warm tomorrow," or "It is raining hard today."
That links thinking and writing. You soon see that many words repeat. That gives confidence.
Another tip is to talk with others about the weather. Even short talks help a lot. You do not have to speak long.
Yes, one sentence in the office or on the stairs is enough. For example, "Pretty cold today." Many people answer automatically.
This creates small talk without pressure. You practice English on the side. It feels good.
It is important to practice regularly. Better one small sentence each day than long exercises rarely. That keeps you going.
Right. Small steps bring more, and the weather is perfect because it is there every day.
And because everyone talks about it. This way, English becomes part of daily life.
We are now at the end of this episode. Today you learned how to talk about the weather in English, from easy words to short daily chats.
We hope you saw that weather is a light and nice topic. You can use it to start talks and practice English calmly.
Remember, you do not need to be perfect. One simple sentence is often enough.
Use the weather in daily life. Listen to the forecast. Speak aloud or talk with others.
If you liked this episode, check our other podcasts. There you will find many everyday topics.
Write us how you like the podcast and tell us which topics you want.
Thank you for being with us today.
We will be happy if you listen again next time.
See you next time.
Bye and take care.